Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the next installment in NECA's Gargoyles line. This is THAILOG, which is a clone of Goliath, basically, and the figure is basically a clone of Goliath. It's almost the exact same figure. We have a couple differences. Paint, of course, being one of them, and then, of course, accessories. So there's some stuff to talk about. We're not going to go in-depth as much as we did for the Goliath figure because it is basically the same thing, and I'll link that in the top of the video on the right so you can check out all the details. But we're going to get through most of it in case for some reason you just want to grab THAILOG. Maybe you're not a big fan of the series, but you think he looks cool or something like that. You're going to get all the information you need. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands with his legs bent the way I have them, which is probably fairly neutral. Of course, you can adjust that however you want, but with them like that, he stands just about 7 3/4 inches, which makes him pretty close to, let's say, 19.5 centimeters. Again, there's going to be some variance there depending on how you have his legs bent, but like I said, that's probably where you're going to have it. Now, before we get into the rest of it, I want to do a question of the day, and it's going to be two different questions of the day. The first question of the day is, how much of a deal breaker are the fixed wings for you guys? I know they look great, but I know they take up a ton of space, and the only way to rectify that is to buy subsequent figures to get different wings. That's fine for everybody who's going to buy all of them anyway, but for those of you who say just wanted Goliath, for instance, or just wanted THAILOG, if he even is going to get another set of wings, you're going to be left in the lurch. You're not going to have any other wings. You're only going to have these. So I'm wondering how you guys feel about that. To me, I think it would have been a better plan, and I'm sure they consider this and have a reason not to, but for me, I would say include multiple wings in the set, charge more. In the pack, charge more. Give Goliath closed, like short wings that are down, just like in the neutral stance. Give him the open ones, and then give him the cape ones. All in one pack, charge more, be done with it. I'm guessing they have reasons not to do that, but that's how I would prefer it, because to me, these big wings are great for certain shots, but on a shelf, especially a shelf filled with other gargoyles with their wings out, huge problem, practically speaking. Okay, second question of the day. How do you guys feel about the super ripped 0% body fat sculpt on these guys? Like, it's cool, but for me, I want the bulk. In the cartoon, they were super bulky, like Goliath in particular was super bulky. They all had their muscles, but they were all like, they didn't have that 0% body fat shredded look. So to me, this doesn't do exactly what I want. I'd like to see something else, but I'm also okay with it. But I know a lot of people have commented on the shredded look, especially for Brooklyn. He looks really thin, so let me know how you guys feel about that. This is just, opinion type stuff, so I'm curious what you guys are thinking. Okay, so differences between this guy and Goliath. Firstly, it's the color. He's dark blue, like an indigo, and that's fine. That is a version of him. I would love to see a purple version, which more closely resembles the cartoon, especially if we're going to get an armored version. Purple's the way to go for me. I know this is an appropriate color for THAILOG, depending on the source. I want purple. They did a really good job with it, though. I have to say, it's easier to shade black onto a really dark color like this rather than shading dark purple on light purple, but not that much easier. Like, Goliath's shading wasn't that great. This guy's is much better. Much, much, much better, at least on the ones that I have. THAILOG looks way better than Goliath, so I'm very, very happy about that, and I like that a whole bunch. This guy's hair is pearly white, which looks pretty cool, and it does have that shading in there. I did see some of these at the store that looked terrible, like they had big blue spots on the hair, which is not great. I got this one at Big Bad Toy Store, and I got lucky. Kind of. We'll get back to differences in a second, but I do want to talk about this. The eyes on this guy are definitely questionable. He's looking in one direction with one eye and a different direction with the other eye. So that's not great. And I saw some really terrible ones at the store. Also, again, this was just a blind pick from an online retailer, Big Bad Toy Store. So yeah, the eyes are definitely a problem. But while we're here, let's talk about the other difference. It is the face sculpt. I do think in some ways this is a better sculpt than the Goliath sculpt. It's a little bit less gaunt. However, the eyes are still ridiculously sunken in, and they're very hard to see from a frontward angle, and you can't really lift the head up any more than that because of the way they did the hair and the wings. So you're going to have some trouble looking at his eyes unless he's up on a shelf like that, like up above you. But I do like the sculpt overall. The mouth is very nicely done. The teeth are well painted, and it does have an overall good look. It's just The sunken in nature of the eyes, especially with the googly eyes and not being able to tilt the head up, is a problem. Like, we have to be honest here. These are awesome figures. I don't think anybody's not psyched. Like, some people might not care, but nobody's like disappointed that the gargoyles are being made. But there are issues that could be resolved in future releases. I do think they are too gaunt, especially in the face. So if they wanted to release like an expression pack for Goliath with some more wings or something, I'd be all for that. That'd be cool. That'd be kind of crappy from a consumer standpoint, but I would be happy to pay for new faces. Okay, so that's it. The face is different and the colors are different. The rest is all the same as far as the main part of the figure goes. He is dark blue, that looks good. Mine doesn't have the fingers and the wings painted. Now, it's almost the exact same color anyway, so it's not a huge deal, but that is a thing. Not great. The paint job on the loincloth is very nice. It's a light blue with a black wash, and then we have the belt buckle painted. That's good. None of the claws are painted, so it's just the dark blue with the black shading everywhere. And it does look good, like there's no doubt about it. They did a good job with it. The wings appear to be metallic. The light blue that's shading on there does appear to be metallic. It's only on the back though, it's not on the front, so that's okay, I guess. And then they did paint the blue on the fins back here, or the fingers, whatever you want to call those. That's painted. This is all painted, but on this side they're not. So it does look a bit unfinished from the front. It's a little bit of a bummer for me. Overall, looks really good. Again, we do have a few issues. Shading's nicer. I like it. I'm happy overall. I'll give the aesthetic probably an 8.5 out of 10. Not being able to see the eyes is a problem, but also not that much of a problem since the eyes are very googly. Okay, let's talk accessories. We have the 2 open hands that come out in the package, then we get 2 fist hands and 1 gripping hand. That's not bad. I'll take it. We do get a briefcase filled with money and keys, and that's very nicely done, so I like that. And then we do get his gun, which has this thing on the front, which can... I don't remember from the show. I'm guessing it's from the show. It's like some kind of missile. So you separate that from the gun, and then you get this giant blast effect, which is incredibly well done. Like, they managed to do the white to tealish gray shading with yellow shading all at once. That's very difficult to do and not make look muddy. And they did an excellent job with that. And it's rigid, so it's not going to warp easily. Very, very well done. So good accessories all around. Very happy with that. Only thing I would want more is an armored THAILOG, which is not an accessory, so I can't complain. So accessory-wise, 9 out of 10, pretty darn good. An alternate head would be great. On a serious note, like obviously armored THAILOG is going to be a separate thing if they do it, but an alternate head would be a nice addition. So still, 9 out of 10 is pretty good. Now we will run the articulation briefly, but I'm not going to go into like all the nitty gritty of like the sculpt issues with the chest or whatever. Like, check out the Goliath review if you want that. We'll start with the wings. Again, just in case you guys didn't see the other video and you don't want to watch it, the hair is soft, but not soft enough that the wings can do anything or the head can do anything because they're just bumping up against each other. The wings do rotate technically up and down, but it's sculpted so that the wings actually tuck in, so they can't rotate up and down without halfway popping out. That's oversight as far as I can tell, because they definitely show him with the wings up and down in the promotional photos, but it's really not made for it, so that's not great. That's not a great thing. So for me, neutral, like having them match the sculpt is where you want them. Now they do have the ratchet in there. It's a very heavy ratchet, and the wings are light, so that's a good thing, but they still take up a ton of space, and because of the head having to look down, like, you definitely don't want to move the wings up or out. You want to leave him like that, at least, and then try to get the head to look up so that you can see his face as much as possible. So the wings look nice. They're implemented well in some ways, but overall it's a problem for posability or even displayability because they're huge. They don't have the posability that we should have from them, and they interfere with the head. I hope NECA can figure out something to do, like, because Goliath's hair is definitely causing a problem for his head. Like, you cannot get his head to look up properly. So that's a bummer. Head is on probably a double. Yeah, it looks like a double ball peg. Could be a single, I don't remember. But you can move it around well. Like, the ball itself moves well, but there's just nowhere to move the head. So that's a bummer. I guess if you took away some of the plastic in the neck, maybe, and you might be able to, like, really force it up there. I did just now, but it's really, really forcing it because this hair is not that soft, and I don't want to grind white paint against the blue wings. So he can look up some, but be aware, there is definitely an issue there. Shoulders are on ball hinges, or shoulders are ball hinges. They go up almost horizontal, so that's pretty good. Rotation is fine. It's going to take some force, but it will work. That's okay. You do get your bicep swivel in there. Double jointed elbow works pretty well. It's better than 90 degrees. The wrists have a swivel and a hinge. You do get a double ball peg up here and a single ball peg down at the bottom. It's very tricky to move the bottom one though. That's why my guy's kind of like shifted off center. I can't really get it to line up the way I want it to, but you can lean him forward and it does work pretty well. NECA's good with their ball pegs normally. So I like, So it's not a ball peg at the bottom, it turns out. It is just a swivel. All right, it felt like it was a ball peg. There we go. So now we know you can just rotate it. So mine seems to be a little bit crooked somehow in there, but now we know. You get your rotation at the bottom and your ball peg at the top. And trying to use that ball peg too much will just pop the bottom off. Okay, it didn't break, so I guess I don't really care, but be aware of that. It's not a ball peg. Mine definitely looks crooked. Do you guys see the abs leaning off to the left there? Oh well. The tail is on a straight peg with a hinge. Now the hinge does allow you to do that if you want to. Rotating it out to the side, I guess you can use it that way a little bit, but it kind of doesn't really do anything. And so what you need to do is make sure you don't leave it like this and rest it on his tail, because that hinge just lets it go like that. So you need to rotate it this way and then rest him on the tail so that it doesn't have any flex. I don't think they needed that hinge, frankly. I don't think there's not enough room for the tail to move anyway, other than straight out, which is kind of weird. So I would say just maybe in future releases, just have it peg in and be kind of fixed with a bendy tail, and that'll be fine. But the tail is bendy, so that's nice. It's not too bad. It doesn't have as much as I would like. The tip is not bendy from like that part forward, right there. So that kind of blows, but it's definitely good enough. A lot of this stuff is like, it could be better sort of situations. It's not like a deal breaker. For the hips, we have big ball pegs, which are not too loose. I would prefer them a little bit tighter, but they're not loose at all, so that's fine. They go forward and back, out to the side. Thigh swivel is fine. Swivel hinge for the knee. You can bring the legs pretty much straight down and pretty far back, so that's good for the knee. And then for the ankle, really good range going back, really good range going forward. You get your rotation on that as well. And then for the toes, same joint. You get another hinge going forward and back, and you can actually rotate that a little bit for placement. So he stands really well, no problem at all with the standing. If you want to make him a little bit taller, you can, and he'll stand. You probably want to get that tail involved as much as possible though, just to prevent any shelf dives, because he is a bigger figure. He does have the wings, so be aware of that. But yeah, it's another good release. Goliath was a really good release. This is a really good release. All the things I'm talking about are things that should change, I think, things that could be better, but not things that are necessary. So I'll give the articulation a 7 out of 10. It's perfectly adequate. It's not impressive. There are some definite issues, but it's fine. So again, a really strong release, but plenty of room for improvement, which is understandable since this is essentially the first figure in the wave. It's just a blue version of it, or in the series. So I look forward to seeing the little improvements across the wave. I keep saying wave, across the series in the future waves, and I guess we'll see where it goes from there. But again, I'm very happy with it. I'm going to give this guy an overall, I'm going to go 8. I'm going to knock it down a little bit for issues like the eyes being googly. That's not okay. And then not really being able to pose the head well. Like you can see, it's already come back down because it's binding so much. Little things like that. The torso being somewhat limited when it doesn't really need to be. You know, it could be better. But 8 out of 10, it's a strong, strong figure. Just could be a lot better without it costing any more, I think. So that's my take. Let me know how you guys feel about it in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.